Hello everyone, hello YouTube. It's Liz again and we are live here today over on Annie's YouTube channel. So welcome and thank you for joining me. Like I said, since we're live, I'm going to kind of keep peeping my head over and seeing if anyone joins me here today. And if you do join me, make sure that you leave a little comment and let me know your name and where you're joining me from, maybe what you're working on. I'm sure we're all at home right now working on various crochet projects. It's been a crazy week for me, as I'm sure it has been for you. But I guess the best thing we can do is just kind of connect with each other, talk about crochet, work on our projects. We've got all the time in the world now to work on our projects. So let me know what you're working on. I'll tell you what I'm working on, and then as you join and say hello, make sure you comment so I can give you a little shout out and a hello. So, what's new this week? Let me first talk to you about the particular tea that I'm working on today. It's called the Soulmate Tea. And then as you join, we'll talk about a couple other things, and I'll show you how to do the stitches in the Soulmate Tea. So there's a V stitch and there's a shell stitch that are in this pattern. So I'm going to show you how to do those. And I'm also going to show you a quick little trick for doing a starting chain that's chainless. So it's a way to make those starting chains look have a little bit more width, so you don't have that big hole in your work, as we all know you do with double crochets. Or you can also do it with treble and double treble. It goes with any of them. So let me show you first, see if anybody's here. And of course, if you can't join me today, you can always watch the replay and check out the little tutorial that I did. So here we go. This is called the Soulmate Tea. And this is one of my favorite new designs from this is the Annie Signature Design Collection. And we have two collections. We've got the spring and the fall collection. So this is from the spring collection. There's a lot more really fun and beautiful designs on there. This one, the Soulmate Tea, is designed by Britt Schmeissing. And I love how it's got these, like, let me see if I can show you another. Here's the back. So if you can see, it looks like it's worked in blocks. So it's almost like there's 4 blocks of different stitches and then sewn together, but it's not. It's all worked in rows. Let me show you mine so you can kind of see it, a work in progress. So I just started the one panel and I haven't gotten very far, but this will give you a good idea as to how this has worked. See, so you've got like the lace pattern, and then you've got the just sort of straight up and down stitches here. And they're just worked in rows. So you start out with one row. And hey, glad to see you. And that is Susan. Hi, Susan. So what I'm doing is I have a TV on my wall over here. So I'm kind of reading the comments from there, but it's a little far away. And thanks, Susan says pretty. So I'm kind of pushing my head over so I can make sure I see you guys. Thank you, Susan. This is very pretty. And I'm using a, I think this is a number 2. I want to say it's a number 2. It's just 100% cotton, number 2 weight yarn, and I'm using a 3.75 millimeter hook. With this project, the designer recommends, I think it's a yarn by Barocco. Is that what it's called? Let me tell you what the recommended yarn is for this one. Okay, so it's Barocco Remix, which is a DK weight yarn, and I believe it's like a mix of cotton and something else. But I didn't have any of that, so I substituted this 100% cotton that I have. And that's something you can do. You can always substitute with whatever you have. You just have to make sure you have the right gauge. So more importantly than even using the hook that the designer recommends, especially if you're going to substitute yarn, the most important thing to do is just make sure you get the gauge. So with whatever hook you get the gauge with, if you have to substitute your yarn, you'll be good to go. And with garments, I always check my gauge anyway, even if I'm using the hook and the yarn that the designer recommended, because everybody crochets a little differently. So make sure you always do that. So now that I have a few people here, first, before I show you the stitches that go from the Soulmate tee, I'm going to show you a cute little trick. But before I totally move my phone to show you my chainless starting chain, I just want to tell you what I made from the from this crochet spring issue. So this is the crochet spring issue, and I know I've showed this one before, but in case you didn't see it last time, this is the scarf that I made from that, and it's called the Lilac Skinny Scarf. So I just decided to pop it on today so I could show everybody that, and that is in the spring issue. There's a few really fun and cute skinny scarves. This is it from the spring issue. So if you have this, this was a really fun one to make. It only took me literally a few hours. It was very quick. And this is the April issue of Crochet World. I went over a few things from this one too. How to do corner to corner. There's a lot of corner to corner projects in here that are fun. And there's a lot of stash busting projects that are fun in here too. So this is the latest one. If you've made anything from this one, make sure you post it on Facebook or whatever so we could check those out. And somebody said hi from New Jersey. Hey there from New Jersey. I didn't catch your name, but that's where I'm from, New Jersey. So I always say, hey, if you're from New Jersey, I am from New Jersey too. And this one is this is, like I said, the spring, but the summer issue is coming out soon. So if you're subscribed, get excited because that should be coming in the mail soon. I'm excited for mine. I haven't received it yet, but hopefully pretty soon here. So, okay, you guys want to see a cute little trick? Let me move my phone without making too much of a mess with it. Okay. There we go. Okay, hold on, you guys. Okay, I think I'm getting this. There we go. Give it a nice clean so you can see my hands here. I'm going to show you how to do the chainless starting chain, and I'm going to show you how to do the shell stitch and the V-stitch from the Soulmate tee, which is from Annie's Signature Designs. And of course, I'm going to put a link in the description, so that way if you haven't seen the Signature Design collection yet, you can go ahead and shop that. There's a lot of really beautiful designs there, not just the one that I showed you. And if you were with me last week, I also made the, which one is that one? Oh, the Samsara lace pullover. And that was by Lena Skavagerson. And I made that one. I actually completed it, and I was wearing it last week. So if you didn't catch that, go ahead and watch last week's, because I did another little tutorial, and I also showed you guys my completed Samsara lace pullover, which was also from the spring collection. So this is a fun trick that I want to show you guys. And I'm just going to show you with this little swatch that's all double crochet. So if you want to, so you know how rows usually start with either a chain 3 for a double crochet or a chain 4 or 5 for a treble crochet. But when you have those chains in the beginning, you kind of get a space there, like a hole in your work. So this is just a fun little way to do a starting that first stitch of the row without having the chained. So what we do is we chain one and then I turn it. So just like you would start a single crochet and then you do a single crochet right into that same stitch. And then you're gonna see there's the one loop and there's the other loop, which are, the bars. Those are the bars. So like if you know how to do Tunisian, you work into those bars. Well, this is the same thing. So you go into that bar that's furthest from your hook, and then you yarn over, pull that through, and then you've got 2 loops on your hook, and then you yarn over and you pull through those 2 loops. And that gives you, so that would be your first double crochet. So then you would just work across your row. And so for this tee, for the soulmate tee, some of the rows start with a double crochet, some of them start with a treble crochet. So you could use this for that tee and really for anything that you're working on that you would prefer not to have those starting chains. So especially if you're working with a lightweight cotton or something like that that doesn't have a lot of thickness to it, you tend to get those holes in the beginning of the row, and they just are not very appealing to me. I don't like to have those sort of holes in the beginning. So whenever I do anything, really, I use this little method. So then you just continue across, and then I'm going to show it to you one more time. And this is my last double crochet. That was my starting. Okay, so see how clean that looks? See, this was my first one. Well, this was my, there we go. So we're going to go just like we would a single crochet. Chain 1, single crochet right into there. That's your single crochet. Now there you've got your 2 bars. You're going to go into this bar, the one that's furthest from your hook, yarn over, and if you need to pull it up a little bit just to give it some height, that's what I usually do. And then you've got your 2 loops on your hook, yarn over thing if you're doing a treble. So there's my 2 bars. I'm going to go into this one, yarn over, pull up, give it a little height there, and then yarn over, pull through both. And then I've got a nice long stitch that's got some good width to it. It's not going to look like a big hole in there. And it looks really pretty for the start of your row. So that's something fun I like to do. Now because of my, I didn't see my comment. I think somebody commented and I didn't see it because my phone. And hopefully I don't have any internet problems today, you guys, but we're all in the house and the kids are using the internet, and I think probably everybody in the neighborhood is using the internet. So hopefully I don't have any problems here, but seems like we're doing okay so far. So let me show you. See how pretty this lace is? I really love this lace part of the soulmate tee, and I just love how it's got these 2 completely different stitch patterns, yet they're, you don't have to seam them together. It's really fun. And once this is all finished, I'll show you guys. I'll wear it, or actually I can't wear this one because this one's a small, so I'm making this one for my daughter, but I'll bring her here so she can so I can put it on her and you guys can see how it looks all finished. So okay, so for here we're gonna do first stitch we're gonna do is gonna be a shell. So this row, I can't remember the pattern. I think it's chain 2, but of course you're gonna, you're gonna go by the pattern, but I'm just gonna show you how to do the shell stitch. So for this pattern, the shell stitch goes like this. You work into the V stitch of the previous row, and then you're gonna do a double crochet, and then a chain 1, and then a double crochet, and then a chain 1, and then a double crochet and a chain one, and as you can see, all of these stitches are going into that V-stitch. We're not moving over. We're putting all of these stitches into the same stitch or chain space, whichever it is. And then your last double crochet, and that's the shell for this pattern. So now, depending on your pattern, a shell might be different. And then here we do a single crochet. So a shell could be just all of the double crochets in the same space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be, I think it's 3 or more or something like that, but it could be up to however many the pattern says. So whatever the pattern says, basically a shell is just putting all of those stitches into one chain space or into one stitch, and that's essentially what a shell is. So for this pattern, we have the chains in between to make it a little bit more lacy. And like I said, for some patterns, you're gonna put all the double crochets together. So then we have the next one is a V-stitch, which is even easier. So I'm finish off this shell from here. So we do a chain 2, and then we do a single crochet into this chain space. And then we do a chain 2, and then in this V-stitch, we make another V-stitch. So a V-stitch is simply double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And that's your V-stitch. Super, super easy. You can do it with single crochets, you can do it with double crochets, half double, whatever you want to do. It's just double crochet. It's just the stitch, chain 1, and the stitch all into the same space. So that is how we do the stitches from the Soulmate tee. And then I showed you that quick little, that fun little chainless starting chain. Let me show that again in case you guys missed it, and then I'll say goodbye. But I hope everyone saw this little trick, because this is fun if you haven't done it. So normally when we start a row, we just do a 1, 2, 3, and then turn, and then you go a double crochet into the next stitch and the next stitch and the next stitch. But as you can see, it leaves sort of a space right there. And especially, like I said, if you're using a really lightweight yarn, it leaves a big space on every single row. So what I like to do is, rather than chaining up 3, I chain up 1. I work a single crochet into that first stitch, and then I go into the bar. So just insert your hook under that bar, pull up a loop, and then you've got 2 loops on your hook, and then you yarn over again and pull through both of those loops. And that is a chainless first stitch of the row. So let me see if I can move my camera here, you guys. There we are. So everyone, thank you so much for joining me again today. I hope you enjoyed this YouTube video. Don't forget, I'm here on YouTube every Wednesday live at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to stop in and say hello and let me know what you're working on. Of course, if you have any burning questions, or if you have any tips for us or anything particular you want to see, please stop in and leave a comment. And everyone, stay safe and crochet the days away. That's what I'm going to do. And have a great week. See you next week. Bye.